What's up, Mets fans? Welcome back to the channel as we got some breaking news here on the front of Edwin Diaz and the New York Mets and the possible deal or no deal that could be happening between the Mets and Diaz, as we have been hearing about the reports that the Mets and Diaz are disagreeing on the number of years for a contract. And I know Met fans are going to be pissed off about David Stearns. And, here he goes trying to cheap his own guy once again, as we saw what he tried to do with Alonso, and he's probably doing it once again. When it comes to Edwin Diaz, the Mets are looking more on the range of 3-year deal, where Edwin Diaz is looking for a similar deal that he signed a few years ago with the Mets, which is a 5-year, just over $100 million type of deal. He's looking for a similar deal like that. Now, I understand both fronts. You understand this could be Diaz's last big contract before, he kind of never gets that big deal again after this offseason. So you understand the Edwin Diaz part. You also got to understand the Mets' point of view here is the fact that closers can completely fall apart. Relievers can completely fall off the face of the earth. Not saying that Diaz would do that, but we know what Diaz has to have as a pitcher, especially as a two-pitch pitcher, where if his fastball dips below a certain miles per hour, I don't think it's going to help his slider at all. His fastball sets up his slider. We see it now, even though Diaz has been great for the New York Mets. When he doesn't have his fastball, that slider, as nasty as it is, means absolutely nothing. The batter is basically looking for one pitch. And when you're sitting on a pitch as a major league hitter, you're more than likely going to hit it. So I understand the Mets' point of view here, where 3-year deal is probably the sweet spot for the New York Mets. But here is the problem, Met fans. And this is where I have a problem with David Stearns. David Stearns needs to understand that Diaz is a hot commodity. He's the best reliever, best closer on the market. The Los Angeles Dodgers, who are not afraid of giving long-term deals and a hell of a lot of money for relievers. We just saw what they did with Tanner Scott, how much money and years they gave him, which was kind of outrageous. Why wouldn't they do that with Edwin Diaz, who is clearly better than Tanner Scott? The Dodgers this year aren't looking for players, big-time players. They already said it early in the offseason that they're looking for high leverage, big-time relievers. And that's why the Dodgers' name came up with Edwin Diaz. The Mets better be careful here. You can't play games with Edwin Diaz because, yes, are there other options out there like Suarez? Sure, absolutely. But what you know with Edwin Diaz, he can pitch in New York. We know how good Edwin Diaz can be. So having him here, seeing what he's done, is why you have to be careful, because the Dodgers can swoop in, and if you continue to play games with 1 or 2 years of a contract, the Dodgers swoop in, and then you're out on Edwin Diaz, and now you got to probably overpay years and money to a guy like Robert Suarez or other closers that could be out, the big-time closers that are out there. So would you rather just give Diaz the 5 years? $100 million? Or would you overpay in years and money to a guy that's probably not better than Edwin Diaz? And you don't know if he can pitch in New York, which is always a concern, even though I don't like using that as a guide to, okay, let's get this player or not get this player. We have no idea who can and cannot play in New York. But we know Edwin Diaz can. I'd rather overpay and give more years to a guy I already know what he can do on my team than a guy that I'm probably going to have to overpay anyway, because there ain't that many good closers out there. And overpay in years and money to get somebody else other than Edwin Diaz. Risky business here. But with the news that are coming out, and multiple reports are saying, that's why it's breaking news, that Diaz wants 5 years and the Mets are looking on on the realm of 3 years. So if they started with 3 years, that seems like we already know the Mets kind of offered him like a preliminary deal offer, which again was probably the 3 years. And so you think the Mets would be willing to go the 4th year. So that 5th year is a little tricky, 100% a little tricky. So I understand the Mets' point of view. But again, the Mets got to be careful. You got to be very smart in this situation when it comes to Edwin Diaz. Now, if it was me, I just give the 5 years. You just saved $19 million with the Brandon Nimmo trade for Marcus Semien. You saved that much money. Why not use it for a sure deal? Again, basically, obviously nothing's a guarantee, but he's close to a guarantee as most things you're probably going to do this offseason. Right? No matter what it is, he's probably one of the short things that you can sign. So, yeah, I am paying him. I am giving him them years. Yeah, it might be an issue 3 years, 4 years down the line in the back end of that contract? Sure, probably. But we'll worry about that then. Hopefully, Dylan Ross is one of our top 20 prospects, turns into something. And then you don't really have to worry about the final 2 years. But you see the Mets perspective, and you obviously see the Edwin Diaz perspective. So that's where we are with both of these guys. But again, Diaz has all the leverage. The Mets have none with Edwin Diaz in this situation. Because Edwin Diaz can just go to the Dodgers and say, listen, what are you giving me? Because whatever you want to give me, I can go back to the Mets, or whatever the Mets give. He can keep on going to the Dodgers and saying, they're giving me 4 years, $80 million. What are you doing? Why wouldn't the Dodgers go to 5th year? They don't care about the years and money. They don't care. They clearly have not shown that over the last couple of seasons. They don't care. They want high leverage relievers. That's their focus. They will get it. And it better not be Edwin Diaz, because that is already a big asterisk on the offseason for the New York Mets and the president of baseball operations, David Stearns. That is what you got to worry about, Mets fans. That is what I worry about. Because you can't make the Brandon Nimmo trade, which I'm on the for that trade, because it's not about Semien replacing Brandon Nimmo. It is about getting rid of that terrible Nimmo contract and providing better defense up the middle with Marcus Semien. So that kind of is a replacement for the Beatty / or technically McNeil at second base, where you're going to get very good defense up the middle. And then you got to figure out what you're going to do with the offense to replace the solid offense that you did get from Brandon Nimmo, which I think the Mets will do, which I think another trade is coming, or a big signing is coming because of that trade. So Diaz, as I said in my predictions for the offseason and multiple times on the show, Edwin Diaz is number 1 on the list to take care of. Now, this Brandon Nimmo deal clearly happened quick, and that was unexpected. But when it comes to priority number 1 this offseason, it needed to be Edwin Diaz. Because if you get your closer, you can work around your bullpen. There's more than enough guys out there to put that bullpen together. But what you know is that no matter who the bridge guys are, you're going to have Edwin Diaz to close games in the ninth. That's the important part, guys. Let me know in the comments, guys, what you think about this year's dispute between Edwin Diaz and the New York Mets. The Mets are looking like they're offering a 3-year deal, and Diaz wants that 5-year deal, similar to what he got a couple of years ago when he signed back with the Mets. So let me know in the comments, guys, what you think you would do if you were the New York Mets. I want to thank you guys for watching. And as always, Met fans, let's go Mets.